Welcome back. So before we actually add a notification message, I wish to add one more thing onto this. Yes, it looks like M4A1, but it's nice if we actually add, a label about, and a label that's something like it works something like this. So if I'm out here, the AK-47 ammo, it does that. Okay. So I need this thing to happen. Okay. I want this thing to happen. So let's do something similar over here. And so M4A1. So let's add a text render, and this will be right above. No, that's okay. Text render will be like this, and it will read M4A1 like that, just like that. And this will also rotate right now. If I hit play, you'll see that even the label will rotate because I don't want that to rotate. I just want the gun to rotate while the label stays where it is. And also it's kind of off screen, or it's not at the same plane. So I'll just move it like that, compile it. And if I hit play now, I should be able to see that it's right in the same plane. That's perfect. Now we just have to use the same logic that we used for the ammo pickup. Okay, so inside event graph, first is and everything is going to happen inside event tick. And this time we're not going to be making and the target will be M4A1. In fact, let's bring this in M4A1, and let's say add local rotation, and this will be a part of add local rotation. I can get rid of this and bring this in. Okay, and connect this, and now this will be delta rotation, and this will be a part of the yaw. Right now, if I look at it, I should not be this guy. Okay, so that's the problem. Maybe that's because it's not around. If I click on that, if I move him back here, and if I click play now, that's because the pivot is different. But at least let's see. Maybe if I increase the size, the word size, X scale, Y scale. So if I say 2 and 2, right? And if I do that, if I hit play, I should be able to see that, it's right above the player, right above the gun, and it's not looking half bad. And the reason it's rotating that way is because the pivots are elsewhere. So what we can do is, we can actually have another scene. And this will be, let's just call this weapon. I don't have a better name for that. Just bring the M4A1 inside the weapon, and not this, but I can now bring this back here, and the weapon right now it's in the center, right? So now instead of M4A1 being the target, I can actually have the weapon as the target, right? And now when I hit compile and play, let's see. So now it's rotating pretty nicely along the center. Right now I can even change the text render scale to 1.5 and 1.5. And if I go back here and if I look, it's looking pretty neat. I'm happy with that. And maybe even go back here and shift the M4A1 label towards the left a bit, like that. And if I play now, let's see. Perfect. Okay, no more fiddling with it, and everything else is great. So next up, now we have that covered. We'll just have the label rotate or follow the camera as we are moving around. So let's create a boolean variable, and let's call this should spin. Okay, and that's a boolean variable, and it should by default be checked, right? And out here, only after this is the player, only after the player has walked over, only after that will we set our should spin to true. Let's say should spin to true, and I'll just move this guy back. move this guy out here and connect these guys and just set it up to false, not true, but from false to true. And then out here we'll check whether should spin is true or not. So we'll just say get, okay, and we'll just say branch, okay, and if it is true, only then should it spin, otherwise it should not spin. And also now this is going to be a little different because we have to get the location of this the weapon, okay, as well as the location of the text render. So I'll just call it this label, and location of the label as well as the location of the player. We have to subtract the vectors, and then we have to provide that to the delta rotation Z or yaw. Okay, so let's actually bring in our label, and I'll call this label M4A1. Let's bring in the label and bring it here. All right, and let's say I want to get its world location. All right, and then I'll get the player camera manager, right, get its location, get actor location, right, and then we have to subtract these two vectors. So I'll just say subtract vector minus vector, and this will be out here, and this will be out here, and the result vector will be passed in to make rot from Z. Let's see if make rot from Z works, and then I'll just say split struct pin. Okay, and then we're gonna bring in our label again, and let's say we'll bring in our label again, and in fact let's do this, let's actually get rid of this, and let's get rid of this. This is going to rotate regardless. Okay, this is going to rotate whether or not the should spin is true or not. Okay, this is only not going to rotate. Let me bring this down here and let this guy sit here. Okay, and like that. If it is the should spin is false, then there should be no rotation. I know this thing should not work at all. Let's see if it is true, then we can just say set rotation, set let's see, set relative rotation, I guess. Let's see what happens with relative rotation, and if it's false, only when it's false should it rotate. And let's see, spread struct pin and only the Z. I don't know, let's see. If I go over to play, and that should rotate, and if I go there, that's not actually rotating. Let's see, how about this is should spin is true. Okay, all right, so it should only happen when it's true, sorry, not false, right? And get rid of this, play. I think that went off somewhere else. Let's say I think it's not relative, so let's set up the world rotation. Okay, and that will be true. Split struct pin, and let's give it the yaw. Let's play. Alright, something is strong here. That's because, oh, there it is. It's actually rotating. I think it's rotating too fast, so you can't see it. So let's make a rot from X, not from Z. Make rot from X, like that. and spread struct pin Z. Okay,